Okay, remember they're changing my voice. This is part 3 about Revelation. So, in the first 2 videos, you should have seen that I put an emphasis on judgment. Okay, why has Revelation come about? Why are people so evil? Because of bad judgment. Proverbs goes on and on about discernment, judgment, wisdom, walking in the right path, insight, right, in the way of righteousness, along the paths of justice. Righteousness being greater than wealth, righteousness and justice, and the judgment to obtain these things. So let's see some verses from Revelation, shall we, that overkill that's the problem. Revelation 9:20. The rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent of the work of their hands. They still did not stop worshiping demons. Okay, so what had occurred, right? These people still did not repent of the work of their hands. They still did not stop worshiping demons. Okay, so I just had to pick up another piece of paper. Revelation 9 here. Let's go over there and see what it says after that. Okay. And idols of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood, idols that cannot see or hear or walk, nor did they repent of their murders, their magic arts, their sexual immorality, or their thefts. Okay, cheating me out of my right to lead. And you see that these people are going out their way to confuse the order, right? There's military orders, there's Masonic orders, there's fraternity orders, right, and sororities. Okay, there's gang orders, there's secret societies. Okay, there's political groupings, what have you. There's a bunch of groups in society, have a bunch of orders, church orders, that are not the orders of righteousness. Their orders, so to speak, are mere idols made of gold, silver, bronze, stone, and wood. Why? Because worldly wealth has created them. Worldly philosophies have created them, not righteousness and justice. Okay? So now what happens, right, when they don't repent of their complicity with murders and magic arts and sexual immorality and thefts, right? Because they're in the spirit or formation or groupings or collections, right? Gatherings, right? Gatherings of wickedness and worldliness and mere church traditions, rules, and customs. What occurs, right? I often say moral clarity is the same as mental, romantic, and spiritual, right? God is love. You get married in a church. You get married with a preacher, a priest, right? Because these things are supposed to be, but they're not, right? But they're supposed to be righteousness and justice and divine, right? Mental clarity, right? Reading the Bible, educating yourself, right? Learning how to do things in life relative to doing God's plan, right? So learning, say, what do you want to be in life? Do you want to be a doctor? Why? Merely helping pagans, recover? Or are you trying to do what is right and have mercy on pagans and to do God's work and obey God through me? So what are you trying to do? Okay, so the lack of having the mental, moral, spiritual, and romantic clarity to not worship demons, to not cheat me out of my right to lead, to not be part of a group that's responsible for rape and murder and drugging, exploitation, so on and so forth, okay, without a higher cause. And of course, if you're not obeying God through me, you don't have a higher cause. It leads to being delusional. Now, does Revelation point this out? It doesn't have to be in Revelation, but it is. Because it's pointed out all throughout the Bible, and common sense, when someone tries to do the right thing, tells us. It tells us that you become crazy if you keep doing the wrong thing. That's a crazy path. That's madness. Okay, and you do it in a customary manner, right? A traditional manner, a ritual manner. It's ritual madness, which is where they get the deity Dionysus, whose name is derived from Dios, which means Zeus, right? Father, Zeus is referring to a young Zeus, and he's a deity of wine, ritual madness, religious ecstasy, fertility, rape by deception, what have you. Okay? So it's making them crazy because they won't stop being evil which is how you worship demons. So write this down. The reason why it says that the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent. They did not change. Right? They did not repent of the work of their hands. They did not have a change of heart, which led to a change of action. Without the change of action, the change of heart doesn't matter. If you're robbing a bank and you say, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this. This is wrong, and you keep robbing a bank, okay, you're still going to go to prison for exactly that. And so it is with justice in general. If you decide to keep reproducing, it doesn't matter how guilty you feel, okay, you're going to go to hell. Okay? If you decide to not obey God through me, it doesn't matter if you regret it at the time, you're going to go to hell. If I'm gone, there's no valid leader, okay, which is going to happen after my flesh dies, then you're going to hell. And your offspring are going to hell because you didn't change course. That's why the word worship has the word ship in it. Like shipping and a ship. Mothership, flagship, township. Battleship. What fight are you fighting? The good fight of moral precision and faith in moral precision, which is proven by actions and bearing fruit? So the rest of mankind who were not killed by these plagues still did not repent of the work of their hands. They did not stop worshiping demons. They did not give up their ill-gotten gain lifestyles and spirits. And then what happens to them? What happens to them is they become delusional because of epigenetics, because of spiritual misguidance, because of brain wiring, neuroplasticity, neural pathways, because there's no way to wire them in a way that causes them to be sane, because they kept being evil until all the righteous were killed, which is what Revelation is about big time. So we see in Revelation 19, verse 19, then I saw the beasts and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to wage war against the rider on the horse and his army, right? Armies and infrastructures of armies. Is the guys bringing them water part of the army? Even if they don't fire a bullet? Yes. And of course, they're talking spiritually. They're talking about their spirits. Their war spirits are gathered around me, okay? Are the guys who, are the nurses part of their army? Yes. Are their wives and their children who support them and give them words of encouragement why they refuse to obey God through part of their army? Yes. Is it just the military? No. It's every group that doesn't obey God through me. So what does it say in verse 20? Now that they surrounded, they gathered together to wage war against the rider, right, Christ, on the horse and his army. And the horse refers to spirit. The rider refers to the spirit of Christ, me, my soul. And the army refers to the army of heaven, the angels, the angles of righteousness and justice that automatically take their toll on people when they don't do the right thing. That's why Isaiah says that wickedness burns like a fire. It occurs automatically. So, but the beast was captured, and with it the false prophet, who had performed the signs on its behalf. With these signs he had deluded those who received the mark of the beast and worshipped its image. Why is it talking about past tense? Because this is Revelation 19. The last chapter is Revelation 22. After Revelation 19 and 20, the Bible is basically, Revelation, Armageddon, the clash is basically over. It's just describing what happens when people go to heaven after that. It's just describing in a very kind of complex and jigsaw puzzle way. It's describing in a way that's a riddle, like the riddle of the Sphinx. Okay, the mystery. It's a mystery. And the Bible also says in Revelation that it's the mystery of God, that this is a mystery that has to be unraveled. But it's not necessary to unravel, because if you're insisting on serving God without reading the Bible, you're going to say, who's serving God? Is it right to cheat them out of their right to lead? You're going to scramble to find the Son of God. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. And that has to do with judgment and insight and wisdom. Okay? So again, it says, but the beast was captured, right? Captured. And with it the false prophet who had performed the signs on its behalf. With these signs he had deluded those who had received the mark of the beast and worshipped its image, right? It's way about it, right? The American spirit, the spirit of Russia, North Korea, okay, the spirit of the Baptist, the Orthodox, the Pentecostal, okay, a family spirit. The spirits are the image, what you see, what the animating force. The image, there's more to a painting. Like, think about people looking at art. There's more to a work of art than the superficial look it has at first glance. It's when you look at it carefully and say, what is this art saying to me? What is the spirit of this country, of this planet, of the inhabitants of the earth, of all the nations in the world? What is it saying to you? The two of them were thrown alive into the fiery lake of burning sulfur, which we'll get into momentarily in one of these next videos, where it talks about the breastplates, okay, of of this army is a fiery red, dark blue, and yellow like sulfur. Not in that order. Okay, so it's dark blue, yellow, fiery red. Okay, so they're referring to the minions of hell. The lake of sulfur is the collection of the spirits of the armies of hell. Okay, so they're thrown into that, right? They're trying to elevate themselves like the Tower of Babel. They're captured and they're thrown into the earth, whose spirit is sinking lower. Okay, and then what happens when the flesh that's in their spirit, okay, that has gathered to the highest point, like the governing class, the false prophet, right, the kings of the earth, right, the rich, okay, they're going to burn in hell to the extreme for their role, right, because each gets judged according to their deeds. I suggest you watch this video twice. You take notes, okay, write down Revelation 9:20 and Revelation 19:19 through 20, and see for yourself, okay, really Revelation 9:20 through 21, and Revelation 19:19 through what did I say was 20? Okay, and see for yourself why people are suffering. So you need to understand, I can't go over this enough, it has to do with judgment, has to do with people being deluded. What happens if you have bad judgment? If some female says, hey, I'm going to date a horse instead of a righteous person, bad judgment. If a female says, hey, I'm going to date a little kid instead of a righteous person, bad judgment. A female says, I'm going to join this secret society, or this porn cult, or this sex cult, or this social club, bad judgment, bad judgment, bad judgment. You yoked yourself to sinners. You say, I'm going to join the military or the police with no higher cause, bad judgment. I'm going to keep being in these organizations when they're doing the wrong thing instead of retiring and doing the right thing, bad judgment. You're not going to rally to make these organizations just while there's still time, bad judgment. Now, this is not a threat to the continuity of the military establishment or the police establishment. Okay? This is not a threat to them. Why? Because there's evil people as far as the eye can see. There's rock and roll people. There's goths. There's Satanists. There's people in secret societies. Okay? They have plenty of recruits. If a small group of people say, he's right, say 10 million people saw this and 10,000 said, he's right, and I'm going to do what he says, the state is still going to continue. So they don't have the beginning of an argument as to why I shouldn't spill this out for them. And this is also my time. Even if the state took the biggest hit of any state in history, the right thing for the state to do is to take that hit in the name of God. So they can have some decency, or at least some speck of decency, some approaching decency, okay, after I'm gone, after my flesh is gone, and no one can be right with God ever again. Only those who had done what God has commanded and didn't reproduce and had obeyed God through me, and so on and so forth. And then they, if there's any left, and I said this many times, if there's any people who obeyed God through me after I'm gone, they're not supposed to lead after I'm gone. They're just supposed to tread lightly, and they die, and that's that. You see what I'm saying? So there is no church, no valid church after I'm gone. There is no valid martial arts. There's no valid state. There's no valid anything. There's just people who obey God through me. And I don't think there's going to be anyone, right? Except for maybe if I outlive my parents, because they're blameless. They don't have to obey God through me. Okay, and that's it. So it's just my parents are blameless. I'm blameless. No one else is blameless. You need to understand that. Okay. So in the next video, we're going to get into this. Now, really quickly, let me just shoot through this. I didn't always read the Bible a lot. I used to talk about the Nigerian Civil War, and I said, why didn't the white nations of the world, the developed nations, help Nigeria? I know why the poor nations like the Philippines and Ethiopia and so on didn't help, because they're poor. But why didn't America? Why didn't England? Why didn't France? Because of their pride. They were social engineering the planet. They had caused the war to happen. They were funding them. They were, they were selling them guns, to some degree funding individuals, and they were creating the situation because of their pride. And in the occult, Lucifer is considered first and foremost a form of Satan that has to do with pride. So you say Beelzebub, and you say Lucifer, and so on and so forth, and you say the princes of hell, and so on and so forth. Lucifer specifically refers to pride. So the Western nations, the European nations, the developed nations, and not just white nations, are seen as Luciferian more than the other nations. Okay, and their kind of brutes are different for. Oh, I'm out of time.